We are
Yeah.
live.
Perfect. All righty. Okay, y'all. So for those of y'all that don't know, October is a month that's recognized for as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I do think that this is a very important month as far as information goes and being educated on this topic. I heard something the other day that had me chuckle. Tam told me someone thought that she was she mentioned cybersecurity. She thought it was an actual security guard, like a real security guard. But no, this is all cyber. You have to understand that things that our business is mainly done online. Many things that can happen within our business. So we thought that it would be a perfect opportunity to shed light on the threats that the cybersecurity and within our industry brings to us. So without further ado, this is going to be Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It's going to be real estate cybersecurity, protecting you, your clients, and your business. All right, go to the next slide. Okay, y'all, those of y'all that don't know me, if you know me, I'm going to give a brief back down. Stedman, I've been in this real estate industry 12 years now. I've been in so many different types of transactions. I've been able to scale my business to where we're pretty much, producing 7 figures on a year-on-year basis. And I love what I do. I love real estate. I was pretty much bred to do real estate. I have included technology in my pursuit with real estate over the last 2 to 3 years. Thus, the reason why I'm with EXP now, and I'm happy to be here. I thought that tech and real estate should be definitely a mesh thing and brought together. So I started to invest myself within the tech region over the last 2 years. I've shifted my focus strictly on cybersecurity in the interim this time. I'm actually sitting for my Security Plus exam through CompTIA, and I can't wait till I'll be able to finish that and go a little bit further more in my career. So since I'm still very new at this, I thought I can bring an expert in the field, Ms. Tam Cutten, and she's going to take the next slide and introduce herself, and you guys will get to know her a little bit more and what she has been doing tremendously in the cybersecurity field.
Yeah, so I'm Tam Cutten. I've been in IT for about 20 years. The last 15, I've been primarily focused on cybersecurity. And I got started in cybersecurity. It's new to a lot of people, but I got started because I was around a lot of military and I did government contracting. So I was introduced to cybersecurity early on. I've been in real estate for almost 4 years. And when I joined real estate, I was like, oh my gosh, they have no security over here. So I thought that's a great opportunity to merge the two industries together. And like Steddy said, I came across the realtor that didn't know what cybersecurity was. So I was like, okay, well, maybe there's definitely a need for cybersecurity awareness in this industry. And so I've also, with the tribe, a lot of people from the tribe have encouraged me, including Valencia. She encouraged me to do training on cybersecurity. Takara, she had mentioned before about merging your previous career with real estate and like meshing the two together. And then having talks with Steddy about real estate and cybersecurity, I was like, okay, well, let's do this. And so here we are now. And I'm just a Texas girl that loves traveling. I have a passion for cybersecurity, and I love helping people get into the industry. So if you know anyone that want to get into cybersecurity, you can just send me a message afterwards.
All right. So y'all, we're getting ready to dive in, okay? So here's the overview on the topics that we're going to be talking about. It's a lot of information here, so make sure you write your questions down. As I said before, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the webinar, but it's going to be a lot of information. So if you get confused or if you have questions, write it down, because we want to get to you. We want to get to your question answered, and we want to have a healthy discussion. So we're going to go over what is cybersecurity, Why is it important? Recent cyber incidents that you guys have either been involved or heard about, top cyber risk affecting the real estate industry, and ways to protect you, your family, and your business. And then we're also going to give you guys some cybersecurity resources for you. Okay, so yep.
You want me to take it? Yeah,
go ahead,
I'll go with it. So cybersecurity is defined as the protection of systems and networks from attacks by malicious actors that may result in unauthorized information disclosure, theft of damage to hardware, software, or data. So anything that we have, like our devices, our mobile devices, our laptops, we need to protect those systems from attacks. And being in the real estate industry, we deal with higher price tag transactions. So we are a target for cyber criminals. So that's important to be aware of cybersecurity. And so the importance of cybersecurity, like Steddy has said, he introduced cybersecurity into, or he tries to use as much technology as possible in his business. So wherever there's technology, there has to be some type of cybersecurity in place to secure those devices. If not, then there's risk for financial loss and maybe not even access to your business. And as we go on to the next slide, we'll talk about like the recent incident. So not having cybersecurity when you're using technology and not protecting your devices open you and your business and your clients up to financial loss or damages. So this attack was just recent. So I'm sure some of you may be aware of it. It happened back in August of this year. It was an attack on the MLS system, and there were hundreds of agents and brokers that were unable to access their MLS system. So Steddy and I thought, like, what would you do? I told Steddy, I don't know what I would have done if the MLS wasn't available. Like, I don't know how to operate manually. Everything I do is technology based. And so I would have been completely lost and my business probably would have suffered.
Yep. So to add into that, yeah, I remember, and luckily, I've been doing this a while, so I was able to kind of utilize other third-party sites. But when we were talking about it, we got to know that majority of the information comes from the MLS, and then it kind of dishes out to these other third-party sites like realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, all the ones that we know. But the problem with that is if the MLS is down, right? One or two things can happen. Number one, we know that the information on these third-party sites might not always be accurate. So that's why we always reference back to the MLS whenever our client sends us a home on Zillow or Trulia or something like that. We try to back check it with the MLS because that's supposed to be the most accurate information. The problem is that if that MLS is down, this is what's feeding these third-party sites. So either these listings on these sites automatically were removed, or they got shut down, or they got some type of, they're experiencing the same issue because of the issue of what's going on with the current MLS. So that's certain things that you guys got to think about. If the MLS is down, what are you going to do to continue your business, right? These are some of the provisions that we take for granted because we have the privilege of not having to experience a long, delay with the MLS being broken down or taken down. Back in the day, they used to have these big, thick books, and that was the form of the MLS. And if we got to go back there, these are some of the resources that we got to think about, or if we need to have provisions. If the MLS is down, the HAR should have something else that we should be able to use in the interim. So just touching on those points.
Yeah, and so this type of attack, it disrupts your entire operation. Like you can't access anything unless you have some type of manual system in place. And not only for the MLS, this applies to other third-party vendors that you're using. So your CRM, your transaction management software. So anything that you're using, it could potentially affect your business. So you want to make sure that those companies are taking cybersecurity serious, and you have backup plans in place for incidents and for times when incidents like this happen, because this isn't the last time that this is going to happen. It's not the first, it's not the last. There's going to be many more. So the top cyber risk for real estate. So what we did is we kind of put them in buckets, in 3 buckets. So you'll see the human element, like 74% of breaches included the human element. And that's where someone was involved in like social engineering, phishing, smishing, or you had an insecure mobile device, or something involved that involved a human, that a human had to carry out in order for the threat to happen. And then the next one is third party. We just talked about that briefly, about how your vendor's risk is your risk as well for your business. So you have to make sure that you're taking the precautions to secure your business and making sure you're doing your due diligence to have the right vendors in place that are taking cybersecurity serious. And then the next one is free resources. We all love to go to a coffee shop and work from a coffee shop, or and I'll use this example because a lot of people just went to EXPCon. So you're probably at the hotel and you're probably using the hotel Wi-Fi, or you're traveling and using the Wi-Fi in the airport. Those are like, that's like a gold mine for cyber criminals, because you connect to those Wi-Fi hotspots, and or you use a charging station while you're at the airport. And so sometimes those particular tools or free resources can infect your devices. So you have to be mindful when you're connecting to free Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi and all of that. So here we'll go into each one of them. So very high level, just social engineering. If you don't know, that's just to manipulate the data, manipulate people into giving confidential data. Phishing, I'm sure all of us, we're aware of phishing. You probably have a phishing email in your inbox right now. And smishing is when it's similar to phishing, but they carry it out through text message. So it's the same thing. They send you a link, get you to click. Passwords, a lot of times we use weak passwords, or we reuse the same passwords across devices. Your CRM may have the same password as your workplace or your social media or email. So that's another thing we're going to talk about. Then mobile devices, making sure your devices are secure. So those all involve like the human element. And so we'll go in depth. Social engineering. So that's just like tricking you to reveal sensitive information. You have to be careful with this because, especially on social media, because a lot of times we'll post your favorite, you know how they have those quizzes, like your favorite things. And a lot of times when we create passwords, we'll use our favorite things within our passwords, or we'll use something relevant to what's going on in our life or our family member or something like that. So you have to be careful when you're using that. Social engineering can also be phone calls. Somebody can call you and you would have to, they get you to try and release that information, or, and also it's, they'll have like a sense of urgency. So you have to be mindful and look out for that. So some recommendations for social engineering is just never share your sensitive information before identifying the person, verifying that that's the legitimate person who sent it. Phishing, we all know how the phishing emails work. So here's an example of a real estate agent that clicks on a link, the hacker gets into their email, and then they're able to see email communication from the buyer or from whoever within the real estate transaction. And so they're able to compromise that wire transfer and just they're following the path to the money. And so here they can send a fake email to the buyer and say, hey, send those funds over here instead of there. And a lot of times, Sted and I had this conversation when I got into cybersecurity, well, when I got into real estate, the only thing that was cybersecurity related would always be like wire fraud. That was like the only thing that people or agents were aware of it was wire fraud, but there's so much more than just wire fraud that's going on in the real estate industry. But this is an example of wire fraud where the agent is compromised, their email account is compromised, the hacker gets access to information and they're able to send details or a fake email to the buyer. So this one is just don't click on any links that you don't know who it's from if you're not expecting it. Attachments, don't download any. You always want to verify the sender. And if you fall for a phishing email, just go ahead and change your password and immediately, and then try and disconnect that device from the internet to limit damages. And mission is similar, but it's just done via text. They'll send you a text message to your phone, and same thing as phishing. But and also for this one, they'll try and come across as maybe your bank, or they'll send you, they'll call you or tell you to call a number, and what else they'll send. It's just a number of things. And I think Steady has a story on this one.
Because I just got, believe it or not, like this was in a matter of weeks ago. I just got. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if it was late at night. I just really wasn't paying attention. But I got a text message from my gas company saying that I need to reopen my account to get my auto draft for my property, for my house, back online because something happened with the credit card or debit card. Either way it goes, they're trying to make it seem like it wasn't on auto pay already. You know, it's just a gas bill. We know the gas bill is usually not that high. So I tried to get on there and it's asking me information for my credit card. I mean, it looks exactly like the Centerpoint's website. I'm here in Houston, y'all. For y'all that are here in Houston, it looked just like Centerpoint's website. Looks just like my log on. So I didn't think anything of it. They had the logo, they had the city. It looked really legit. But when I tried to put my card information, it kept saying failed. And I'm like, okay, that's impossible. Okay, let me try another card. I tried 3 cards, y'all, and each one of them said failed. It wasn't until the last card I said, oh crap. This has to be some type of smishing, some type of scam. And sure enough, 2-3 days later, my bank called to say, hey, we got a tip, fraud alert. Somebody was trying to use your card at Walmart in Amarillo, and I'm in Houston. So it gets the best of us is the point I'm trying to make. If something is suspicious to you, be vigilant and listen to your sixth sense that it's probably something wrong, or call the gas company directly and make sure you verify who you're speaking with. This is a prime example that it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, and it's just cybersecurity isn't just relevant in your business, but also your day-to-day life. So yeah, yep. Be careful before clicking links or providing your information. So weak or you reuse passwords. So here's an image of the number of characters that you should use within your password, as well as the combination. So a combination of numbers, uppercase and lowercase letters and symbols. So if you go here, like 14 characters, if you do, well, let's do 13. If you do 13 characters using numbers, uppercase, lowercase, letters and symbols, then it'll take approximately 47 years for someone to hack your password, unless you share it or you're compromised. But just doing maybe like a brute force attack, which is where they're just trying to try several passwords or a number of passwords just to get into your account, then it'll take that amount of years to access your account. So with passwords, you should have longer passwords and use a combination of numbers, uppercase, lowercase, letters, and symbols, as well as using a password manager to store them, or you can use a password generator if you do not want to create your own. And so as far as passwords, also use passphrases. Mm-hmm. So you can put a combination of words together with symbols, numbers, letters, all of that. But you should definitely use something that's going to secure your passwords, and never share your passwords or reuse them. And another thing you have to think about is when we're working with virtual assistants or transaction coordinators, listing coordinators, a lot of times we may give them access to our MLS, and that password is used for another platform. So just be mindful when sharing. If you're going to share it, which I don't recommend, but if you absolutely have to share that password, then just create a different password that's not used on anything else. Oh, and use multi-factor authentication. That way, if your password is hacked, then they would need another step to go ahead and access your account. And mobile devices, this is a big issue for everyone, no matter which industry you're in, because we store so much information on our mobile device. And so here are some ways to just protect your mobile device. So when I'm not using, for instance, when I'm not using Wi-Fi, I always turn off my Bluetooth Wi-Fi. I disable everything. Even when I'm on Clubhouse, one time I came up to speak on Clubhouse, it was a long time ago because I don't speak that often on there. But I had to close it out and go back in and adjust my settings because I had the microphone off. I had everything disabled. But that's just me being extra. So but make sure that you're securing your devices, because all of your clients' information is on there, as well as your personal information for you and your family.
Yep. So you guys got to think about all the information that you request from your clients that you need to use to either write a contract, send it over to a lender, whatever the reason that you have it. You got to ask yourself, how much information do you have in your phone right now that could be a threat to either yourself or your client? And I'm talking just your text thread alone, right? We're not talking about all the other apps that you got on your phone that are able to collect this data and the sensitive information for your clients. Just think about it. When's the last time you actually done a sweep through and gone through all your texts, all the pictures that they get of them taking pictures of their ID or something like that? Just think about how much information you really got in your text thread alone, right? This is the reason why we're talking to how, it really starts from the mobile device a lot of times. So here's 20 ways to block the mobile attacks. And guys, remember, at the end of this webinar, we will send out the link to this slide deck. So.
So the next category of risk would be third-party risk, and that's like ransomware, malware, and outdated software. So for ransomware is where they'll compromise your system, they'll get access to your data, and they'll lock you out. So they want you to pay in order to get access to your data. No matter if you pay or not, there's no guarantee that your data is not still being sold on the dark web or somewhere else. So you just have to be mindful. Always have a backup for all of your data. So anything that's on your laptop, your phones, whatever information you have, even your CRM, like how often are you backing up your CRM? If your CRM platform was to go down today, do you have access to your contacts, all of your clients? So you have to think about that. So ransomware is allegedly it was what happened with the MLS attack. And so they didn't have access to their data. So just make sure that you're backing up your data off and storing it offline if you can.
Yep. And y'all don't make this like we're giving you this information in really the basic terms. Ransomware is literally, it's in its name. There's somebody holding you for ransom, right? And you got to think about how much power does that person have to lock you out and asking for a fee or asking some type of monetary value of value or funds or whatever it is that they could block you off until you pay. And you got to understand that this ransomware stuff, it works. It works because people will pay anything to get back running, especially if the HAR is locked out their system. You got to think, if this is allegedly true, how much money did they really pay to get access back? So real good.
And another example is, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of the attack that happened with MGM and Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. So Caesar's Palace paid the ransom, whereas MGM did not pay the ransom. And so I was reading the reports from MGM, and so far they had, it was like $100 million hit from that actual attack. And then it was another 10 million in fees, like for all the consultants and all of that to come out and help them. So it gets really expensive. I mean, it may not be that price for an individual, but just think about the third-party vendors that you're working with. They could be hit with something like this. And then malware. So ransomware is a type of malware program. And here are some of the other ones that are available. So it's pretty much the same thing, except they're not asking for money. Ransomware is the only one that demands money. The other one just installs different things on your computer. Spyware, it monitors all your communication on your device. And this one is just making sure you install programs from like the App Store and making sure everything is legit. So just be mindful of the programs that you're downloading, and like jailbreaking phones and doing all of those things, and the attachments and links that you're opening, because it could compromise your system, which will compromise your business, your data, and your client's data. And outdated software. So this goes back not just for our devices, our mobile devices, our laptops, but also your devices at home. You want to make sure that you're updating all of your devices, like your televisions and a lot of Internet of Things devices that are in your home. A lot of things are on Wi-Fi these days, so they need to be updated, as well as your any type of vendor that you're doing business with. You want to make sure that they're keeping their software updated as well. When they release patches or any type of updates, make sure you update that as soon as possible, because it could be a vulnerability in there that could potentially turn into a threat. And free resources. So we have the public Wi-Fi, charging stations, and artificial intelligence. So as we mentioned earlier, public Wi-Fi, this is where the cyber criminals love to gain. It's like an easy way in for them. So I'll give you an example of like a man-in-the-middle attack. So like I'm at a coffee shop and I connect to whatever the coffee shop's Wi-Fi is, or what I suspect is the coffee shop's Wi-Fi. And it could be like a rogue hotspot where someone set up something with a similar name, or to make you believe that that's the coffee shop's hotspot. And I connect to that, and now we're on the same network. So that person is able to see the information that I'm sending. And if I'm sending, let's say I'm working on a contract, if I'm working on that contract and I'm sending it over to a lender, now they have access to any information that's been sent. So you're exposing your client's information to that attacker just by connecting to the Wi-Fi. And so some of the things we recommend using a VPN, or also just have your own hotspot. Like right now, anytime I go anywhere, I always have my own like mobile hotspot. I never connect to any public Wi-Fi. And this one is, this one's not supposed to say phishing, but it's for the charging stations. So the charging stations, so anytime you go to the airport, they have those devices where you can plug up your phone to like a USB, or even in rental cars. So I never connect, well, nowadays it's a little different, but like back in the day, you would have to use, like you can use like the USB to plug up your phone in the rental cars or at the airport. So what I would do is I'll take my actual charger with the outlet adapter and the outlet and plug it into the outlet directly, or I would use like the cigarette lighter charger, and I would use that to charge up in, like if I'm in a rental car or anything like that. So those things, those charging stations, once you connect your device, it loads some type of malicious data on, maybe like some malware onto your device, and now they're able to access your device.
So bring your battery chargers, your backup chargers with you.
Yes, yes. And then AI misuse. So we all love AI, and so does the hackers. So it allows them to, so back in the day, they used to have the emails that come out, the phishing emails, and you would see like errors and like how, like in the emails, maybe the grammar was incorrect, but now they can use AI to make more sophisticated attacks, or they can use AI to create actual hacking techniques to show them how to hack. So we have to be mindful of the information that we're putting in there. Anytime you put information into AI, you want to redact all of your personal information, like your name, your company, or anything that could identify you, your client, or your business.
Yep. And for GPT, like what it does, it keeps a log on the things that you asked it to do, or some of the questions that you might ask. And we all have been using it kind of lately. We think it's great. I think it's great, but we also have to be vigilant to be self-aware that, this is also a threat, essentially. So you do have to be vigilant of going through your due diligence to make sure that type of stuff doesn't happen, right? So some of I know right off the back, some of the things that I've used Chat GPT for, I have my name in it, right? And these are some of the things that I had to go back immediately and, either delete or remove my name with no personal information, no personal ties to it, because again, I'm just increasing the threat for myself and even my clients, right? So we all love AI, and just like Tim says, the hackers love it too. AI is enhancing our business, but it's also enhancing the dark business as well, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, and I've had Chat GPT spit out some information. So I did a search, or I requested some information, but the information it gave me back, it included a name and a phone number. And I was like, well, that's not my information. So, it could be giving your information to someone else. So our recommendation today is to search your devices for social security numbers, driver's license numbers, date of birth, any like personal identifiable information, and delete it or archive it. And so we have some resources on the next page about data retention and all of that. Some documents from NAR. We have tips on best practices for phishing, passwords, MFA, your updates, wireless connections, and Bluetooth. And so these last two documents, I would really recommend that you guys read these, because this is from NAR, and it talks about the privacy and data security, and it talks about the retention policies of how long you should retain information for your clients. Because if there's no longer a business need, we need to delete the information.
Yep. And especially us realtors, y'all, we really got to understand and be aware of the regulations, the different things that we are under for our license, like NAR. If they have something on data security and best practices, just know that, that could be passed down to our local governments with TREC and things like that, to where they're making this a rule. Like, hey, you cannot keep information for a set amount of time. I'm expecting that to happen, right? With brokers, they have to keep these files for 2 years. Okay, but how are they keeping these files, right? What secure methods are they using to make sure that that information is secure? Or is it on an external hard drive? Is it within their own system? These are different things that we got to understand. And because of these recent attacks, expect TREC to next year come out with something regarding cybersecurity and best practices for realtors. And we don't want to be negligent on it, because it might end up being our fault, and we don't want to go down that road at all, right? So you need to also do your due diligence of not just getting your continuing education and things like that, but learning what NAR and TREC and any of our other government bodies for us specifically is saying that we need to be doing, because I think pretty soon we're going to be regulated on information and data. It just is what it is with the increasing amount of attacks, different things going on. What happened in August with the MLSs? These are things that we kind of got to be aware of.
Yes. And do we have any questions?
All right. So y'all feel free to unmic. If for people that's here on the Zoom, let me check workplace. I know you got some questions. So just like how we do in Clubhouse, you guys open up and fire away. Here.
I do have a question. It's raining in my background, so hopefully y'all can hear me. But we didn't mention two-step verification. So is that solid for us to be utilizing, or is that considered a waste of time in y'all's opinion?
So for the two steps, so that would be the multi-factor authentication. Is that what you're talking about? It's like when you enter your password and then you maybe get a text message or you have to input a code?
Correct.
Yes. So yes, you should use multi-factor authentication.
Okay. It's a hassle sometimes, I must say, especially if you change numbers, it can be a hassle, but that's the only thing that I've been utilizing as far as protecting me on my end. But I'm gonna utilize the resources that y'all shared today as well.
So I do want to share this. So I don't recommend using your phone number as your MFA for Facebook. And I'm going to use Facebook as an example because I switched phone numbers and I was trying to get into my account and I forgot I used my old number. So I put in my new number and it allowed me to get into someone else's account. And I was like, they sent me the code and I clicked on, I did everything and I was able to get into someone else's account. So if you have your number listed on Facebook, I would probably remove that. If you plan, because if you change your number, then whoever gets that new number, if they reset their password,
that code's
like the password reset, and then they had to do that verification. They sent me the verification to the new phone number I had, and I put in the code, and I was able to change their password and access their account.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't know if Stedman remembers, like 2 years ago, my Instagram it did get hacked. It didn't kind of get hacked. And I think they kind of got me because it was a trusted person that I always communicate with. Mm-hmm. And before I know it, I was locked out of my stuff and I had to start all the way over from ground one. And Stedman tried to go in and pay a ransom, but the number was too high and he was just like, "F y'all." And we moved around from it. But and it was just Instagram, but I was a little butthurt about having to start back over from square one and repeat content, but it is what it is. So I'm glad we had this little session today.
Yeah, they have a lot of social media scams out there. One of my friends, it was someone, I don't know what the scam was, but he had to tell me, he did not want to tell me about it. He was like, well, I gave him my email or the password. I don't know what he did, but I was like, no, you just gave him your account. Oh, he changed the password. They said, change your email address to this email address in your Instagram account. And he changed it. I was like, you locked yourself out. You just gave them access.
Yep.
So yeah, you got to be mindful. They'll use social engineering or on social media as well.
Yep. They got me for my Twitter account, I think without going on 2 years, and I had so many people on there and I had to restart. They're asking me to send them Bitcoin. I think it was like $50,000 or something like that. They started at 50, then they went down to 10, and I said, you know what, forget this. I try to let Twitter customer service know, but I would be devastated if they got into my Instagram or all that content that I created, all the time that I spent, my clients' information, things like that. It's some real stuff out here, y'all.
Yes, it is. But a lot of people don't take it serious. And since I come from a corporate background and doing cybersecurity and cybersecurity awareness from the corporate side, a lot of employees, they're like, oh, it's just something we have to do every year. We have to do the annual training or every quarter, however often it's required. But it affects you when you leave work as well. So you just have to think about that when you're leaving work as well. So they'll send you the banking app. And also since it's open enrollment time, you may see phishing emails on open enrollment, tax time is rolling around, holiday scams. So you'll see an increase in scams around this time frame.
Yep, last quarter, y'all. So y'all know that all crime really increases during the last quarter, but specifically cyber, they're just getting more and more sophisticated. They're using the holidays to kind of play on you, different things like that. You got to be vigilant. Just stay vigilant, y'all.
And for the smishing attacks, I want to add, because I get a lot of text messages from people asking about real estate, and I don't think it's legit. And so sometimes I don't respond, but we have to be mindful of like the text messages that we receive or any leads that we're receiving from clients. It could be like a potential scam. So don't trust everyone.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Y'all don't want to, Mike, you can also, put the question in the chat, different things like that. How many of y'all know somebody that is a victim, that was a victim of a cyber fraud or anything that we talked about today? Or maybe yourself?
I do for sure. Steady. Actually, a friend of mine was recently a victim. He can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you, Frank.
Yeah, he got a call from what he thought was his bank because he ordered a new bank card. And so he got a call from the bank. They asked him for some information, and come to find out it wasn't his bank, but whoever called him knew that he ordered a new bank card. And they drained his bank account. Whatever information they got from him, they took all of his money out of his bank account. And this was probably a couple months ago. So I don't know how the fraudster knew that he had just ordered a bank card, but I assume somebody from the bank shared it, and then that kind of opened the door for them to call on to get the information they needed to take his money. So it was pretty difficult.
Yeah, that's tough, man, because that could be pretty devastating to somebody, man. I could only imagine. Imagine, you wake up and all your money's drained. What do you do? What's your next move, right?
It could be a compromised device. His email is compromised, or it could be just like internal employees, internal threats. So you have to be mindful of those people that you're working with too.
Yeah, the other thing is he reached out to the bank because he assumed that there's a way he could get his money back, and they wouldn't give him his money back. I guess they said that it was his fault or whatever, but he couldn't get his money back.
Wow. Yeah.
So I had an issue with, well, I didn't, but one of my family members had an issue with the bank where someone had taken some money out of their account, and they started to receive the text messages with the code from the bank. And so we went through the whole spiel. They changed their passwords, they did everything. And I walked them through the entire step, and they said that the bank said that they were not going to give them their money back. And so I went into details. I emailed everybody, and I was like, okay, well, I found these vulnerabilities within your company. Had you all secured certain things, it probably wouldn't have happened. But also I said that, how was it accessed? It was accessed online. I said, does that person normally log in online? And I said, I asked them about the IP address. Was it the same IP address? She was like, no, it was a different IP address. I say, has it been used before? No, it was the first time it was ever used. And I said, well, how did the code? I said, was the phone number ever changed to receive the code? And she was like, no, it's a number on file. And I said, well, can you give us the number? She gave us the number, and I was like, wait, that's not her number. And she was like, oh, no, that's a different number. So I think they realized that they had messed up. And so they gave them all of their money back.
Yep.
So it's just knowing the questions to ask, but if you're in that situation.
Yep. You should probably call your bank and ask, what are the fraud protection procedure and process? Give them hypotheticals. What happens if my account is drained out and they actually use my debit card with the PIN and everything. It's important to understand whoever's holding your money, what type of insurance you got with that, right? But also, there's also insurance, specifically for, fraud protection, different things like that. So it definitely should be something that's on your priority list to have in place, just in case something like this happens and it's really just unexplainable and the bank's not willing to help. We got a question in the chat from Christina. Should we use a VPN every time we get online? And then there's another one. Is it true that people can determine our location based on geotagging in pictures and live videos? So I'm gonna jump on that first one with the VPN. Yeah, I use a VPN now. If you check my VPN, it'll tell you that I'm in Singapore, right? It's just another layer of protection for added threats. What do you think, Tam?
So I would say the same thing. So I would use it for added protection so if you're on your home network and it's secure, I mean, there's no need for a VPN. But if you're out and about and you're using like the public Wi-Fi, so there is a time where you may be vulnerable from the time that you connect to the internet until you connect to the VPN. So that may be a time where you're vulnerable. So you don't want to do any business then or have any sensitive information up. But once that VPN is up and going, then you should be good to go.
Yeah.
What was the other question? Geotagging?
Yeah,
I don't think the
I'm
geotagging.
having a really busy day. I can come in the morning.
I never geotag anything. So,
I mean,
my location is always turned off. I never have my location on unless I'm going somewhere. I need directions. I turn it on. And then when I get to that location, I turn it off.
Yeah, I got geotagging.
But I guess you're tracked anyway. You have your device, they tracking you.
I mean, yeah, they're tracking you anyway. Really.
You're being tracked.
But I know my wife and then my sister, they have my location just for emergency purposes. We all have some type of tracking on these devices. It's just like, when is it acceptable? When is it not? Or when could it be a threat to yourself? This is definitely a good question, Christina. Thank you for putting that in the chat. All right, y'all, we got about 3 more minutes. Anybody else have any more questions? I know you do. Just unmic and let it go. Or if you want to share an experience dealing with fraud or anything with cybersecurity. Let me check workplace.
And then I guess we can share the link too.
I have a bit of an experience. One of my clients, she has to send me like copies of a check and every month for like to pay my commission. And when she sends it to me, she encrypts it. And so I have to download it through a third-party program, but I don't know how to do that on my end. Is there a program that encrypts data when I send it? Like, I don't know what she's using, but I have to go through several steps to get it.
There are several programs that you can use for encryption. And I know that even some, I want to say some, like on your device, you should be able to do like password protected. So if you password protect something and you send it to someone else, instead of purchasing software, you should be able to password protect it, and then you can share that password with whoever that who you're sending it to. I wouldn't put the password in the same email. I would maybe send it like a different way, maybe text or call them and give them the password, but that's another option.
Okay, thank you.
Also, you guys, this is another experience that I'm gonna share real quick, but also some advice for you guys to deal with certain title companies that use encryption, for everything, right? Even the messages that you guys have to go, we know that we communicate with title companies quite frequently, but I know Fidelity Title, they don't respond to my emails. They make me sign up with their secure portal communication, and I got to get on there and talk to them through that and that medium only. It's a pain in the butt, and it's kind of annoying sometimes, but at the end of the day, these threats out there are real, and they're trying to keep the integrity of your transaction, right? And also themselves, right? And also protecting you along with it. So these are different things that you need to think about as you deal with title companies on your email. Like, do they have some type of encrypted or in portal system for messaging and communication? You really want to be protected to the full T. I had a client, unfortunately, subject to, phishing in their email, and they end up sending earnest money to a fake title company. Somebody, got into their email, and they were able to make it look like that they were the title company, end up sending the earnest money. We never saw it again. Title company said, no, we don't have the earnest money. We never got it. Here are our wire instructions. It's scripted. He has to log in, and do this and that. But unfortunately, we weren't able to get the earnest money back for my client. And it was just a horrible experience. I felt like I was the one to blame, even though I wasn't really, but it's just a horrible feeling that, your client, they're dealing with you on a real estate transaction, and they're subject to this fraud, unfortunately. But I just want you guys to try to avoid having that experience that I had, and deal with title companies that take privacy and security to the utmost priority for them.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, y'all, we got about 1 minute left. If you got any more questions, if you guys felt like you got a wealth of knowledge, man, just do me a favor and put some thumbs up in the chat. And I really, really, really am extremely grateful for Tam to come on here and give us some game and give us some awareness of cybersecurity. With it being Cybersecurity Month, I thought this was very appropriate to give the knowledge to our tribe and our fellow agents. I know we talk real estate all the time, and we talk about different things in the way, but sometimes we gotta scale it back and talk about the things that protect us to even have the privilege to do this business, right? I really, really appreciate Tam taking out time to come on here today. And then, oh man, I learned a whole lot. I hope you guys did as well.
Thank you, Steddy. Same. Thank you for encouraging me to get out here and share the information.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All righty, y'all. So, Christina, I see you had a question. The tribe is our group within EXP. I'll follow us here on Instagram. This is an open forum. We're on Clubhouse in the morning. Then we also have our live events weekly, and this week was for cybersecurity and real estate. I'll send you our link to our page. You can check us out. But for those of y'all that are on Workplace, thank you for tuning in. Those of y'all that actually signed up for the live webinar, thank you. We are going to send you a copy of this presentation so that you guys can have it and refer back to it. I know it's a lot of information.